Alright, time for an album review. You guys ready? Hello, you're taking a break with Kazu, and it's time for an album review of the new Autolux album, Pussy's Dead. God damn it. Autolux is an experimental alternative rock band from Los Angeles, and this is their third studio LP. They've been around since the early 2000s, and it's been 6 years since their last album, Transit. And they are known for their interesting mix of shoegaze with an experimental element. The dissonant guitar melody and their effective bass really sets them apart from your average alternative rock band. They're really good at creating a sonically dynamic experience for listeners, and it shows how three people in a band can put in so much heaviness and melodic noisiness into a record. If you want to get into them, try Future Perfect. I highly recommend it. However, they don't get much attention like they should. Probably it's hard for people to connect with their experimental side, which is not that crazy. It's kind of accessible, to be honest with you. And they're not very consistent in terms of releasing music. It took 6 years to release this album as well as their last one. Reason for delay most likely comes from the other responsibilities that band members have. Besides Autolux, Greg Edward, the founding member, is also part of legendary space rock outfit Failure. And they reunited a couple years ago and even worked on a new album. Also, Carla of Autolux not only recorded drums on Jack White's album, but she also toured with him as well. So when other musical responsibilities comes in, it's hard to get a record done. I understand. This time, Autolux brought Jordan Asher, aka Boots, to produce the album. If you didn't know, he produced a couple of Beyonce's records as well as Run the Jewels and FKA Twigs. It is strange how he's linked with Autolux, but apparently he's a really big fan of the band, so decided to be a part of it. And they're finally back, so I was looking forward to listening to this thing, and it's okay. Just okay. Autolux's music can get heavy at times, but this album felt like there was less distortion, and they have incorporated more electronic elements into their music. For example, the song Soft Scene, a very glitchy tune with minimal instrumentals with vocals done by Carla. It reminds me of something that Radiohead did with King of Limbs. And it's definitely not the territory that Autolux has stepped into, and it's not the best song in the album, but I thought the concept was really interesting. Hamster Suite is another song that's also similar too, but I like this track a lot more. It sounds a lot darker, and also the vocal by Eugene meshes better with the atmosphere of the track, and I like the guitar and the bass that builds this thing up. And the start of the song is really, really cool too. They did incorporate more electronic elements, but that doesn't mean that all the songs here are beat oriented. There's less guitar and more synthesizers, and honestly I really enjoy their guitar work, but this is not a bad change of pace for Autolux. At times they'll pull out a distorted bass on a track, like the song Selectallcopy. It's all one word, Selectallcopy. Very minimal instrumental, but midway through the track the distorted guitar and bass comes in to create more intensity. And I also like the chorus on here. It's so sad to be happy all the time. It's a good start to an album, and the dark melodic synth really pulls you in, so I thought it was a cool track too. However, after listening to Selectallcopy, you realize that most of the songs here have the same feel, and it's not a bad thing, but it gets repetitive, especially when listening to an album front to back. Junk for Code is not a bad tune. I like the flow and the guitar melody that carries throughout the song, but it's way too similar to Selectallcopy, and I personally enjoy Eugene's vocal on this album more than Carla's. Yeah, I don't know, for some reason I couldn't get into her vocal, especially when she started singing high pitch on Brainwasher. It felt like she was mimicking Fantagram, and the music just sounded like it can possibly be on an electric shaver commercial. Even on Soft Scene too, it felt like she wasn't putting much emotion into it. My all-time favorite Autolux song, Asleep at the Trigger, is sung by Carla, and I think she's totally capable of putting in more emotive vocal on there, but probably the band thought it was better to add something a bit more robotic, but I completely disagree though. On this album, I think Carla did her best vocal on a song, Anonymous. It's a piano ballad that Greg wrote one day, and Boots added a half-speed rhythm track from Soft Scene. I thought this was one of the better ones on the album, and the mix of piano with this slowed down mechanical rhythm somehow worked. Overall, there were some tracks that really surprised me on the album, but at the same time, there were low points as well. I didn't like Change My Head. It's the most popular track on the album with a bit of Beatles influence. It's performed well, but to me it's hands down the worst track on the album. This sound they're trying to do just doesn't work with them, and it doesn't fit the record either. Becker, even though it wasn't a bad song, it felt like it could have been a bonus track. And the track starts off with an acoustic 90s grunge era riff, and it expands more instrumentally from there, but I didn't really see anything special about it. I don't know, man, I was expecting this thing to be more consistent, but the problem is that not all of the songs were on the same level. I will go back to some of the tracks, but overall, the album felt a little underwhelming. It wasn't terrible. I enjoy their new experiment, and it's cool that they took some risks. And I do listen to their stuff from the past, so either way, I'll be looking forward to more music from them in the future. Highlight tracks are these, right here. So what did you think of this album? You like the new Autolux? You hate it? Let me know. Also recommend me more albums to review. That way I can take more breaks. And I like breaks. Like, comment, and subscribe. Yeah.